All right, we are recording. This is the team call for the hub for, I don't even know what month we're in, March? March 2021. So we're going to talk about fears and social media tonight. I did a little poll in the hub threads, and that seems to be the biggest thing holding you guys back. So I figured, why not do a call on it? So I'm going to start with fears, and then if there's enough time, we'll do social media. Because really, I don't think social media is your problems. I think it's more the fear behind social media and where those things are. So first things first, fear. Fear is making it about you and not about the other person. It's very impactful when you think about that. So I'm going to say it again. Fear is making it about you and not about the person you can help, what they need to hear, and your story and how that will impact them. Fear is making it about you. So take you out of it and remember that we are here for a reason. We have this vessel in front of us, this tool that is Beachbody, but we are the story and we are the connecting feature. So take us out of it and we are the connection. So you showing up on social media, you telling your story is going to connect you with your person. So I'll go into that after. So fear. I listened to, I think it was Brendan Burchard. One of his things was, it's basically fear is broken down into three categories. You either have three different types of fear. First one is loss pain. Second one is process pain. And third one is outcome pain. So breaking it down. Once you know which fear you have, you can then dive into it and work on it. So first pain is lost pain. So fear of doing it because you might lose something. So if you become a Beachbody coach, I might lose out on time in my family. I might lose out in time in doing something that I could have been doing, like watching Netflix for hours on end. So like, what is your fear that you have? It could be lost pain. So processed pain is process of the change itself is hard. Think about when you guys joined the Hub as challengers for the first time and starting changing your nutrition, if that was something you dove into right away, changing to doing workouts. Laura doing morning workouts every single morning. Like, think about how that change happened. And now you're like the inspiration for all of us to get up and do it. I see your post, you tagged me in it. I'm like, okay, I'll get out of bed. I don't want to, but I'm going to do it. But you started somewhere at some point, but you showing up and you doing that change helped us all level up. So process pain is fear of just change itself. And then outcome pain is, what if I do the things and then I don't have the outcome I want? So what if I actually do this coach thing? What if I do the 5 vital behaviors? What if I actually do it and like consistently do it like I do my workout and nothing happens? So that is outcome pain. So he breaks it down into these 3 things. And then basically, once you know those things, then you can start breaking yourself down, breaking it down and realizing like, okay, I have this fear of not doing it because I'm fearful. So outcome pain will take, I'm fearful of not actually having this work. Right. And then if I don't, then I'm going to shame myself for not making it work, for wasting my time, for doing all those things. But really, you're doing that by not doing the things. Instead, he says to visualize and focus on the things that it could be. So the second that you're like, I don't even want to sit down and do a power 20 minutes because what if I don't help anybody? And what if I just waste my time? And what if nothing comes of this? And then I'm going to look like a loser and people are going to judge me and I've wasted my time. But instead, focus on like, what if in those 20 minutes, I'm able to connect with one person who needed to hear me today and one person who said no to me, let's say, but also I was able to give the tools of, so lately I've had a lot of people just struggling and I'm like, this is not the right time for you to join my journey, but I'd love it to be when it is. Can I send you a meditation? It's 10 minutes. Can I send that to you to help you in the time being? Like, what if that's what they needed, but that was the game changer to them sleeping tonight or them just having a moment of reprieve? So like, it doesn't have to be about the sale, right? It doesn't have to be about you guys like transferring everybody over to clients or coaches. It's about the impact that you're making. So focus on what you want to be, what that you want that to be. So those are the 3 types of pain. Once you figure out those 3 types of pain, which one is your biggest thing, because you probably have all of them, focus on that and then switch the visualization. So Mel Robbins, I listened to her call too. So guys, I don't know any of these things. You know what I did for this call? I was resourceful, which is what happens in your business. If you're resourceful, it will come. So I basically YouTubed fear. I did fear in Beachbody coaches. I YouTubed that, which really didn't give me what I wanted. And then I just did fear itself, and I came up with my favorite gurus. So it was Brendon Burchard and Mel Robbins were like the main things that I took from. And it probably took me about 45 minutes. But that was valuable in my own life too, because I was able to do it. So resourcefulness, on a side note, very important to do. Okay, Mel Robbins. So she takes the 5-second rule, and then what she does with fear is she adds an anchor thought, she calls it. So fear and excitement, apparently, I learned, have the same response in your body. So the same chemical release, the same all the things for fear and excitement. So when you feel those butterflies, when you feel the sweaty feelings, and you tell yourself, instead of telling yourself, I'm so scared, I'm going to shit my pants. Hope the kids aren't on right now, people. But instead of telling yourself that, say, I'm so excited. I'm feeling these butterflies because I can't wait to see my team on my team call tonight, and I can't wait to provide value, I hope. And instead of like, I'm so fearful, what if no one shows up? And what if I'm the only one talking to a screen tonight and no one gets any value? I'm just not even going to do the call. Like, see how those 2 things can align and how your energy can change because of that. So anchor thought. So she gives the example of flying, which none of us are doing right now, but I'll use it because it was great. So this one person who she worked with had a massive fear of flying, and her anchor thought was actually getting to the destination and walking on the beach with her husband and having that time away and that mental reprieve. So when the plane had turbulence, she did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then she visualized her walking on the beach with her husband. Visualization is really massive to getting over fears once you recognize what it is. And instrumental in your business too. Like, visualize what you want to come of this business for yourself, and then 10x that. Because I mean, even in the last year, guys, things in this business have changed so much for me that I'm like, wow, this so much can come from this. But I started so small with a different mindset that I never thought where we are today would be possible. And I can't even imagine what will come in the future. But visualize those things. And if you're that kind of person, write down those visualizations, those affirmations, read them to yourself every single day. That's what I do most mornings. Is I read those affirmations of what I want from this. So when fear kicks in or excuses kick in, then I have those things that are in the back of my head. Oh, right, I'm doing it because. And I have in my book, like, the reasons why I'm working it. Watch it not be here. It's not here. It is here. Hold on. See my things. This is my visualization, right? Like, I'm remembering why I'm doing this. So when I get fearful, when I'm like sending out a coach invite to someone who like makes me want to like poop my pants because it's scary, because they're like whatever, right? Or it's someone who's really close to me who I want to do this business with, that I don't want to ask the question, because if I ask the question and they say no, like, that could change your relationship and all the things where your mindset could go. Instead, flip the switch. What if they do it? And I get to do this with my best friends, who you guys have all become. Like, what if you get to do this with your people, and you get to have this amazing community that the hub started with one person? I remember running challenge groups, guys, with one person and thinking, this challenge group sucks. And Dominica was there for me, like, at the beginning, right? And it was just such a small thing, and to see what it's turned into because fear didn't take over completely is crazy. So okay, those are the main things about fear. I have a few other things. I'm just going to read them off. Overcoming fears. Again, biggest thing is your reason why. Figure out Why? I'm going to relate this to the business, obviously, but so why do you want to do this? And I had a whole call on this before. Why do you want to do it? And it needs to be, I think, 7 layers deep, right? So I want to do this business because I want to help someone else. Well, why do you want to help someone else? Because it helped me so much and it made me feel not alone. Okay, so why do you want other people not to feel alone? And then keep going. Same thing, ask the same question as your answer, 7 layers deep. So a why that matters more than the chance of failing. So if you're writing down things, that needs to be written down. Your why for this business has to be bigger than your fear of failing. Otherwise, when your excuses come up or when things get awry, you're not going to do the things because your why is not big enough. And then he said, there's 2 big days in your life, the day that you realize that you were born and the day that you figure out why. And I was like, ooh, goosebumps. And the day that you figure out what your purpose is here in this world and doing that thing, right? And then another reason is like a community, a tribe, lean in. So when you're scared and you're feeling alone, you can move through it with others. So honestly, guys, I wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for Tash and Aaron. I talk about them all the time. They were my Success Club buddies. They started with me. I started in January 4 years ago. And then in February, we did a leadership training together, like a coach mentorship together. And then since then, we were in a message pod, which I put you guys into because I realized how valuable that was to us for bonding. So lean in on those groups because your friendships are going to grow. Your Success Club's buddies are going to grow out of there. And so those are people that I do life with. Tash messaged me the other day with like something going on with her fam jam and how can you help me through it? And like, I just need to talk to someone. Like those are people you end up doing life with. And when you're feeling like dropping this business, because it will happen, and especially in like my first year, guys, I think 5 times I for sure was on the verge of quitting because it's sometimes hard and it goes through ebbs and flows. And when you don't have a why, I didn't have a why until last year. When you don't have a why and you're just doing it to do it, it's easy to want to be like, I'm just going to cut my losses because it's easy to do that. You don't lose anything when you quit this business. But what you realize is how much you would lose. One of the things that Tash and Aaron always say to me, like I haven't wanted to quit for a long time, but what they used to say to me back then was, okay, say you quit. Who would be missing you? One. Who, like, would you still be using Beachbody and doing the things? Yeah. So what's the point of you losing the income that you've already grown just sitting there? That Lindsay's building for you just sitting there at Emerald? That, like, if it was income, right? But think about all those people who you're showing up for and you don't even know see you. So I talk about, people, if you're posting on your social media, which you all should be doing, which is what we're talking about, you're posting, you might not see probably 50% of the people who see the post. They're not going to comment or like it, but they might have had massive impact from what you said in that statement, or a massive feeling of belonging because you posted about, I don't know, I'm just thinking about today, Reese blowing up her poop everywhere and it getting disgusting and me being like, whatever, like something that you're sharing that relates to the person you want to help, that is like you, that can help them feel not alone today. And how impactful is that, especially in this time that we're living in? So just because you're not seeing a reflection in your comments or your likes and whatever, and you're not having as many views, if you're looking at those things, like take that out of it and know that someone there is watching and needed what you put out there today. So get a community, which this is what we are. What negative contemplative thoughts, stories are you telling yourself and holding yourself back? So what is the story? When I asked you guys to look into your fears, what is that fear? And what fear story are you then cycling? It's likely something that you can overcome. You just have to flip the switch. Again, just like realizing fear and excitement are the exact same things. So flip the switch. You're not fearful, you're excited. Those emotions that you're feeling are excitement. And you, by telling yourself that and by switching the visualization, literally changes what's happening in your brain at that moment to change the thoughts. I will tell you guys, the last 3 weeks were pretty hard for me. And I struggled a little bit in this business, but I had to have those conversations with me, just like you have the conversations with the chocolate sitting in your cupboard. You have to have the same conversations with yourself in this business. I don't want to put out this post. It's super uncomfortable. Or I don't want to send out this message. I don't want to work tonight. Like, I'm tired. You have to flip the switch. Someone needs me today more than I need to sit on this couch and watch this 20-minute show. Think about that 20-minute show could change someone's life. I'm not telling you to give up the show, do the show at the same time. Just kidding. But what I'm saying is really pay attention to the story you're telling yourself and flip the switch. What else did he say? Every great thing comes outside your comfort zone. And this is how we grow as a person. Trust me, guys, I like comfort. I do not like being outside my comfort zone at all. Laura, you're moving. You are outside your comfort zone right now. So kudos to you. But again, I'm sure you don't like the feeling. I'm sure it was scary to list your house. Like, I'm sure all those things were scary, but you are also probably visualizing your next house and how exciting that is and how amazing that is. Guys, do the same thing with our business. Whatever, sacrifices. You have to watch. Oh yeah, so sacrifices in this business can be huge, but again, you have to realize why you're doing it, who you want to do it with, and what message you want to put out into this world. We are all here to raise the bar on the happiness out there and not to put negativity out there. Not to say that our days are not going to be hard. But again, at the end of your hard that you're sharing, you're going to share how you got through it, what you used. I don't expect you guys to always put out there perfect. I don't want you guys to do that. The purpose of us as coaches is to show that we're human and they can do it too. So post your cheat day. Post about the fact that you fell off, but you're back on and why you're back on. Post about the fact that you're human. Okay. When I was going through being super sick, being pregnant, I didn't share that. That was my choice. You all have a choice of what you decide to put out there. So when I was 3 months pregnant, until I was 3 months pregnant and everything was fine, I chose not to share that. There's other girlfriends who choose to do that, but that was my choice. And I chose to share all the other avenues, my avatars, in that time frame. So you get to choose what you put out there and just figure out who you are and what you want your message to be. I was talking to one of the other coaches on here today, and she was talking about mental health and that being her jam. And I was like, then that is what you speak to. Those are the people that you speak to. That is what your brand is. And then you implement all the other things. What else? People always say to me, I keep attracting coaches. I'm jumping all over the place. I'm kind of going more into social media now. I'm done with fears. I keep attracting coaches. If you're attracting coaches, then what you're doing is you're hashtagging Beachbody or Joel or Coeur de Force or anything in regards to Beachbody, because the people who are searching that are coaches. They're generally not people who don't know about what we have to offer. So if you don't want to attract those people, then don't tag those things. And also, you may not be putting yourself out there authentically enough. So your message is maybe just only coaching, only workouts. That is not what is necessarily going to bring you the most amount of valuable people that you want to help. You really want to put who you are out there. And you'll find that as you go along and as you find your words. What else was I going to say? So yeah, that's it on that one. Okay, let's go into social media. So Gary Vee says, hold on. It really doesn't matter how many followers you have. It's how many followers that you have that care, which is really important. And honestly, I have a small social media. I grew it from nothing. I probably had 100 friends when I started coaching. My Instagram had 0. It only has just shy of 1,000 people, but I have people who follow me that care. And here's what happened. When I started posting on social media, of course, I had some people who would put out some negativity. But what happens is I constantly put out positivity, and I constantly speak to my people. The person who is a busy mom, who's a nurse, who's like running all over the place, who loves to go out in the nature, in the nature, who speaks like that, go out in the forest, like that is my person, and that's who I speak to. So that's now who I attract. So figure out who you are, and really 5 areas of your life. And that is where your posts come from. So as you will see on my feed is nature, trees, some forest. And usually what I associate with that is personal health and personal development and mental health. I slept like 2 hours, guys. So that is how I incorporate that, because in the forest, I found my mental health. So those are 2 things. Nursing, which obviously is on hold, but still. Family. What are my other 2? My other 2 are kind of just random. Hair, I don't know. But figure out what things really, really, really make you, and that is what your social media is. It shouldn't be all Beachbody, because that's boring, and there's 8,000 coaches out there that do that. You want to be you, and we are, yes, selling Beachbody. That is just our vessel. We are selling ourselves and what we want this brand to be. All of you have the ability to make this whatever you want this to be. So if you want this to be a community of women who, like, just honestly close your eyes and figure out after this call is done what you want this to be. Who is around you? Not just clients, coaches. What do they look like? What do they, and go back to that call I did on visualization. I did a whole call at the beginning and we did a visualization, and it's really like, break down your life. Where do you want your life to be? What do you want it to look like? Like ideal. I am by the water in like a Tremblant style house. Like that is what I'm at. That's where I'm living. And I can visualize that. It still feels far out of reach, but it'll happen. Again, I'm on a tangent, guys, but visualize who that person is that you want to help, and visualize who that person is that you want to grow your business with. And that will be huge to you growing your business. Do not take people on. I'm telling you from experience, do not take people on if you don't want to help them. So don't just ask random people. Ask people who you want to invest your time in helping. You have to provide value. It's not just the Lauren show. It's not just the Laura show. It's not just the Liz show. Like, it's not just, I ate my food. This is what I had. Then I brushed my hair. Then I went pee. I had a really great poop. And then I went to the park. And then it's not that. People don't want that. That's part of that is your stories, because people want to have a connection with you and know your life, but you want to provide value. So I was listening to one of the calls on this, and she broke it down. So she said, pick 3 to 5 things that you love. You're, say, an expert in. I'm not an expert in forests, but I know a lot of the forests in the neighborhood, and people find that valuable. And then I connect to my people. So, for example, that's one of the things. I love that. I thrive on it. It's my jam. I know the things. Post about those things. So if you really like makeup, post about makeup. If you really can do great braids, Liz, I just saw your face laugh. If you really like hair, then post about like some hair tutorials. Like, do something that's going to be of value to other people. Then, and that's outside fitness. Okay. We are not gurus. We are not personal trainers. Some of us may be, but even if we are, that's not necessarily the only thing you want on your social media. We are not one-dimensional, and you need to find content at the beginning. It can be difficult, guys. Your brain doesn't work this way. You haven't made the shift. For some of you, okay, you haven't posted consistently. You haven't maybe just stepped outside your comfort zone, because for some of you, just posting fitness stuff is your comfort zone. Push out of that. Be authentically you. And that, guys, as scary as it is, it's going to connect you to the most wicked people who you then love talking to, you love connecting with, you want to like actually talk to them. Like the worst thing ever, guys, is bringing on someone that you don't want to talk to. And that happens by you not being authentically you. And it will happen mainly at the beginning. It's been a long time since that's happened, because really I'm only connecting and taking that time to connect to people who are my jam. So all you guys are my jam. So really finding content at the beginning can be difficult. Here's a tip. We have 10 more minutes. Whoa, I gotta go fast. So hop on Pinterest and find things. So if it's recipes, do recipes, but then cook, then actually try to make it. If it's personal development, like I have a whole hidden, like you can block your things so people can't see it. I have a whole hidden thing about personal development quotes. I used to have a whole hidden things about motivational comments. So these are like still not authentically you, but it still provides value and it's a good post. Once you've been posting for long enough, you can go back in your memories. This is one of my posts every single day, is literally a memory from past years, and I just repost it and change my picture to be something that's in present time and then change it around just slightly. So really hone in on Pinterest, hone in on those places where you can get wicked recipes. Go to the Beachbody blog, but don't share their picture. Like literally make it yourself. Practice what you preach. Don't post Core de Force. I don't know why I'm talking about Core de Force tonight. Don't post 9-week Control Freak and Autumn Calabrese. Don't do that, because that's going to bring no one, but it's also going to bring like just not authentic people as well to you. And it's going to look very salesy. And a lot of us, especially me at the beginning, have the fear of coming off salesy. How do you not come off salesy? Be yourself. Put you out there. So you using what this is, you talking about how this has changed your life, and find out how it has. Take a second and realize who you were when you started and who you are now. Speak to the person who was you back then, because it's going to change, if it hasn't yet, drastically over the years. I am not the same person I was 4 years ago. I was scared. I was unhappy. I was overweight. My marriage was struggling. I was struggling. I really just wanted every single day to have the kids in bed and just be done with the day. That's how I started, guys. That's not my life now. It's like full circle. So speak to that person who's really just waiting till the clock hits 7 or 8 or whatever bedtime is. I'm talking to moms right now, but talk to the person who was you back then and tell them how this has changed your life now. And those are the people that you're going to be able to take on and change their lives. What else was I going to say? Finding content is like a muscle. You need to train it and it does get easier, but you have to do it. Just like inviting. Inviting is scary. The more you do it, the easier it is to just spew it out of you and invite. And it just takes consistency and doing it over and over again. And then literally, honestly, stories are a huge game changer, because they're literally posting your life. And then you can look back at your stories for the day and be like, oh, that'd be a great post, right? So it's really good to have content, and then you have pictures to choose from too. Okay, I'm going to go really quick to see if there's anything else I want to do. Be vulnerable. I said about that, but be at your level of comfort. So be at your comfort level of vulnerability. When I started, again, I had all my pictures of my kids, my family, everything blocked, because I didn't want anybody to see my life before, because I was too scared. I didn't want anybody to see my kids. I told Lindsay, my coach, when I started, that she would never see a picture of my kids on my social media. She's like, okay, that's fine. And then I slowly learned that that wasn't connecting me to my people who I wanted to help. But you need to start where you're comfortable. But you need to know you have to step outside your comfort zone at some point if you want to be connected to the people you want to help. You've got to be vulnerable. Engagement to increase engagement. So again, if you want to increase your engagement, you got to ask something like, Netflix is my jam right now. I'm loving Netflix. We never had Netflix before. If I have date nights with my husband, that's connecting me with people who are married, who love to spend time with their partner. And I'm saying, like, this is how we made it work during COVID. We have weekly date nights in my living room, and I'm really looking forward to like sitting down, but we've binge watched all of the shows that we had watched. What shows should we like? This is the genre we like. And that's an engagement post, but it also connects me to people who think, oh, that's a great idea. I should do that with my husband. So then you have people to follow up like, hey, yeah, so I ended up taking your advice. I ended up watching this series, Yellowstone. Liz, thank you. I didn't sleep for like a week because of you. But like, again, like that connects you to people and gives you a conversation starter. So engagement posts are one thing. I mean, we used to do like outfits, right? But who goes anywhere now? Like, should I wear these leggings or these leggings? Which is also funny. You should do that. But again, like people like to have an opinion. So engagement posts are good. And what I usually do, if I do an engagement post, I usually do a transformation or something that someone needs to see in order to say yes. I personally now wouldn't need to see a transformation to hop on, but who I was 4 years ago needed to see that this worked for me to start. So engagement, then a transformation-ish. Show up every day because that builds trust. So even if you've fallen off the bandwagon, even if you're struggling, show up somehow on your social media that day because it builds trust to that person who needs to know that this works, that it's consistent, and you will be there for them. And that doesn't mean that you can't be human, that you can't have days off, but we are the hub, guys. We are a community that supports our people. Like in the message thread, I'm going to say for the 9 Week Control Freak message thread, Laura's on here right now. She was a freaking boss in there. She'd already finished the program, but she showed up for us and she helped us and she cheered us on and like made us feel like we could do it. That is what the hub is, guys. I'm going to get teary because of it. Because like we are here together as a team. So when one of us is struggling, the person picks it up. Guys, when I was pregnant, about to have the baby, like I just leaned in on the leaders and I was like, guys, this is what I need from you guys. Who can help me? You guys all leaned in and it was amazing. I'm not gonna get teary. So just because you don't feel like showing up, show up for that person because they get the hub. Okay. It's not always about you not showing up. They get the hub to support them on the days that you can't support them. Hope that made sense. Now I'm teary and can't read. Don't be a complainer, be a ray of sunshine, positive upswings. So when you have those bad days, like I said, at the end of it, show how you got through it, show what tools you used. That was the biggest game changer for my mental health when I started, was I would say like, listen, I had a really hard day at work, but I came home and I punched that stuff out. I almost swore. Punched it out. And now I feel like I can go to bed, like I've had that release, that I can move on. And that person who's struggling after a really hard day at work needs what I said today so that they can move forward in their life. I said, be personal, attraction marketing. So like I said, like don't post, I did 9 Week Control Freak. You post, I did this wicked 30-minute workout. I sweat my butt off. I punched my butt off. I moved my body and I feel amazing. For example, don't say, I just did week 3, day 1, 9 Week Control Freak, and it was amazing. That's not going to bring you the right people. You want people to say, what have you been doing? Even someone in the hub was like, what workout did you do today? And they're like, it looks awesome. What was that? And so then I could have a conversation with them. And if that was someone who didn't know what I was doing, I could say, oh, it's a program I've been doing. Can I show you a promo video and see if it's something you would like to do? Right? Or is there an area in your life that you're struggling? That allows you to have that connection starter versus them Googling it and buying it off the website. I have to go really quick because it's about to done. Do the work. This business is so much harder, guys, when you take that break and you don't do the business, when you don't show up on social media, because then you have this big gap of people who you can't thank, who you can't ask to join you on this journey. So just show up and be consistent, and do the work, send out those invites, ask people how they're doing. I had a week where I was just like, you know what, I'm just not even going to ask anybody, and I'm just going to provide value to them and see what I can do to help them in their life. And I did that for an entire week and it felt amazing. And then I got back to inviting. And I did follow-ups in that week. This business will work for you if you do the work. It doesn't matter how good you are at social media, it's how good you are at doing your vital behaviors. That's so key, guys. It does not matter how good you are at social media. I am terrible. I just learned, I was resourceful, I learned the things, and I still have so much to learn, but I showed up and I did the things, and I do my 4 little blocks. I invite, I add to my followers, I do follow-ups, and I show up for myself in my journey. I do those things every single day, and that's why this business works for me, and it can work for each and every one of you. So it's gonna die. We're gonna cut out at some point. I want you guys, when this call ends,